We begin our program this evening with a member of that committee, Congressman Adam Schiff, who also chairs the House Intelligence Committee. Representative Schiff began by telling me more about this committee's main mission.
I think its most vital purpose is, after we do a comprehensive investigation, to make a set of recommendations for the country about how to prevent this from ever happening again. This was an attack not just on the Capitol itself or the people within the Capitol, the attempt to potentially kidnap or harm our legislative leadership or the vice president, but also an attack on our very democracy, an effort to overturn the election by violent means. And so we hope to write the comprehensive, definitive report in a nonpartisan way with a set of recommendations about how to prevent this in the future.
And I'm assuming much of that report will be based on the testimony you hear, and what you've heard so far has been deeply distressing. I'd like to take a moment to revisit some of what Officer Harry Dunn had to say about what he experienced. And he explains that rioters told him that no one voted at all for Joe Biden, to which Officer Dunn noted that he had, in fact, voted for Joe Biden, and then asked whether or not his vote counted. And here's what happened next, and I'd like to note there is some sensitive language here.
One woman in a pink MAGA shirt yelled, "You hear that, guys? This voted for Joe Biden." Then the crowd, perhaps around 20 people, joined in screaming, "Boo! No one had ever called me a while wearing the uniform of a Capitol Police officer."
Adam Schiff, what was it like for you? I mean, you were there that day, but to hear firsthand that account of what Officer Dunn and his colleagues faced that day, how did that sit with you?
Well, it was among the most powerful testimony I've ever heard, and among the most moving. Here you have these courageous gentlemen who risked their lives for us. And, I'm one of the people who felt, my life might have been saved that day by those Capitol Police officers. And yet they were being called traitors. They were being called disloyal. They were being the subject of racial epithets. One of them, Sergeant Gunnell, was a decorated Iraq war veteran, but also an immigrant to this country. And he was being told he was a traitor, that he wasn't really an American. And, for the black police officers to be the subject of these horrible racial taunts, it was just so ugly and distressing. And it really demonstrated the terrible degree to which the last 4 years of that presidency stripped the veneer off and allowed people to declare their bigotry quite openly and adamantly. And so it was really hard to watch, but I think it was really important for the country to hear, particularly since some of my colleagues are denying it ever happened.
You mentioned it being hard to watch, and you and I have very different jobs, but we share some things in common, which is that there are times where we have to ask people questions for a living, and you never know what you're going to get in response. And I know that I always try to keep as calm and composed as possible. Sometimes that's really hard to do. And there was a moment when you heard that testimony and you were responding to it that it felt like it was just hard for you to kind of keep it together. And if you can take me back to that moment and what you were feeling in it, and was it hard to kind of keep it all together, given everything that you had just heard?
It was hard, and it was hard for several of us. And I've never, I think, been at a hearing where it was so emotionally taxing to the members as well as the witnesses. But, hearing them describe just the taunts that they went through, the physical harm, watching the footage of Officer Hodges being crushed in that door, and watching his reaction to seeing it again. This was also really powerful. During the first few minutes of the hearing, Benny Thompson showed a 5-minute clip of what happened that day. And you couldn't see it on television, but the officers were tearing. They had their head in their hands. You could see how traumatic it was for them to relive this. And, we've seen just in the last week with the suicides of 2 more police officers, that trauma goes on. And that trauma is made worse by the fact that people are denying what happened. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it was really moving for us in a way that I don't think any of us expected.
As you are well aware, Adam Schiff, there are some, including Donald Trump, who are calling for answers about the death of one of the women who breached the Capitol, Ashley Babbitt, calling for the release of the name of the officer who was responsible for her death. You mentioned earlier you feel it's important for this committee that their work to be as nonpartisan as possible. What would you say to those who are saying that there needs to be some accountability for her death?
Well, first of all, in terms of the president calling for accountability, this is the man who incited this attack on the Capitol. And he's merely, in this case, following some of the rabid members of his base who are trying to make a martyr out of Ashley Babbitt, who is, it's tragic that she was killed. But there has been an investigation of the shooting, and it was determined to be a justified shooting. And there's been a lot of misrepresentations about it by the president and others. But the president's motivation here is not accountability. It's, of course, distraction and trying to turn around the events of that day as portraying those who ransacked the Capitol as victims. Rather than the Capitol, our democracy, and those brave police officers.
Where do you as a committee go from here? What can we, the American public, expect to see next from you all?
Well, we're going to look at all the events that led up to that day, the role that the big lie played in motivating people to come to Washington to attack the Capitol, the intelligence we had or didn't have, why we didn't see it coming, the response on that day, why the reinforcements from the National Guard weren't sent earlier, what the role of the administration was, what the role of people in Congress may have been in furthering the insurrection. We're going to look at how it was financed, how did people get the money to come and participate in that attack, the role of the white nationalist militant groups in the attack. And then, as we mentioned earlier, or discussed earlier, what do we do to prevent this from happening again?
Congressman Adam Schiff, truly grateful for your making the time and for the very hard work that you're doing on this important and difficult task. We appreciate it.
Thank you.